Guys, if you don't mind, I'm gonna get to Paramount because I think we're at the end here, Jim. We're at the end. We're in the final.
Can we just say one last thing about NVIDIA?
Yes.
I think he's ahead of Lisa. Okay, Lisa Sudan.
Okay.
I just want to point that out.
We're going to come back to NVIDIA many times during the course of the show. Okay. We're at the end on Paramount, and the reason I say that is the following. The terms have been agreed to between the special committee and the buying group, of course, of Skydance, that's David Ellison, and Redbird, the private equity firm that has been at this for so many months. And, of course, we've reported on all of the ups and downs here. It was really always theirs potentially to have. I talked briefly about, obviously, interest from Sony and Apollo, but also have made it clear that that never really amounted to as much, perhaps, as that had been hoped by some of the B holders out there. And now the deal, as I understand it, is awaiting a sign-off from the control shareholder of Paramount. That is Sherry Redstone, who owns National Amusements, where the 77% roughly of the votes are held in the A shares that she controls there. That is expected to come. And so we are going to have an announcement. Don't know if it's going to be in the next 24, 48 hours, but very soon, it would seem, of a deal. And it's quite a deal, by the way, to go through. Let me give you some of the details as I understand them, having spoken to people familiar with the situation, all right? Sherry Redstone, she's going to get $2 billion from National Amusements. That number's been out there for some time. That is roughly the correct number. Here's where things get interesting and perhaps a bit more complex. Skydance, at the close of the transaction, whenever that will be, is going to tender for almost, not quite, but high 40% of the B shares at 15. So if you're a holder of the B shares, you're going to be able to sell almost half of your shares at 15, and then you're going to be left with equity in Newco, because Newco is also going to include Skydance. Remember, that's getting brought in. By the way, that is being brought in now, I'm told, at a value that is less than had been previously sort of tossed around. The $5 billion number had been used. Now I'm hearing it's in the high $4 billion. So they're reducing the value overall of Skydance. That gets rolled in. And then, as well, Skydance, Redbird, Larry Ellison obviously is part of this. They're going to contribute $1.5 billion in cash to Paramount's balance sheet. That is essentially, let's view it as debt reduction, try to get them on the path to investment grade, growth capital. And what do you end up with here? You really end up with, in many ways, what is a private equity deal, for lack of a better term. That really is, you're going to have a public equity stub. Roughly a third of the shares currently outstanding now will be held by B holders or held by shareholders, and the remainder of the economics will be held by Skydance and Redbird. And, of course, they also will control the company through its A shares. The numbers are pretty staggering because it's $2 billion for Sherry Redstone. It's $4.5 billion that will be used to buy out roughly almost 50% of those B shares. And it's $1.5 billion in cash contributed to the balance sheet. Add that up. That's $8 billion here. Now, of course, we know Larry Ellison's got multiples and multiples of that, but Redbird, for its part as well, roughly $10 billion right now under management, certainly going to be raising new funds as well to contribute that significant sum to getting this deal done. And don't forget the risks that they're taking on here as well. Of course, you're talking about a company that is no shortage of challenges, that is currently run by 3 different people. Some people have taken calling it the Pep Boys are running Paramount, and that's going to be in process for quite some time. And so you don't know even how much the assets are going to be diminished over that time period before you're committed to step up and spend that kind of money. But there is a belief, it seems certainly on the Skydance and Redbird part, that once they merge Skydance in and once they start to execute the strategy that they believe they can put in place, it will bring significant accretion of value. A lot more on that strategy in the days to come, of course, and one would expect if and when they announce the deal, we'll start to hear a lot more as well. This deal is not going to require a vote of the majority, the minority, right? The whole process with the special committee replaced that. There's no vote going to be required here because potentially that wouldn't go their way, and that was part of the negotiations. There will be an annual meeting tomorrow, strangely. You may get that without any real announcement here of the actual transaction again. And, you know, as for the go-it-alone strategy that at least one director had sort of been espousing, there's a belief, generally speaking, that not being investment grade, not having access to the capital they need to potentially get there, there simply was not a path that was viable for Paramount to really think it could pursue versus the opportunity to give its shareholders a significant exit here, and an exit that apparently a lot of them want. So we are very close to concluding at least this part. But Jim and Carl, what that means for the future of Paramount as you wait for a close, by the way, who knows how long that could be? You got FCC's got to sign off, right? CBS is owned here. We'll have to wait and see.
But David, for a long time, you were talking about it has to be a $3 billion cash inclusion.
Now it's way more. They went up a lot.
Did they?
A lot. Yeah, they increased their contribution enormously. It was $3 billion originally. Now it's $4.5 billion. Just going to B holders, and another $1.5 billion going on the balance sheet.
Oh, my.
So the numbers here are quite large. You're talking about $8 billion in new money coming in to take out. And then again, this is not just, we control the company through the A shares. They're going to control the economics as well. So in many ways, it's almost like a public stub for what is a private equity deal, a go private deal.